Discover the incredible talent of a homeless girl, how one piano prodigy changed lives forever. Mia wandered through the chaotic streets of Philadelphia, her heart heavy and her stomach grumbling. Homeless for weeks now, she was just a kid lost in a world that seemed to spin without her. Her family was gone, shattered by struggles like glass on pavement, each broken piece reminding her of a better past. Yet she held a secret, a talent that could change everything, a gift for music that had once brought laughter and warmth into their small living room. She found her refuge in an old, forgotten park where the air was heavy with nostalgia. As she approached, her eyes settled on a dusty piano, its surface mottled and peeling, but still standing like a beacon of hope. Tentatively, she placed her fingers on the keys, and as if the instrument recognized her, haunting melodies escaped, swirling around her like autumn leaves dancing in the breeze. With each note, her heart swelled, reflecting the pain and hope of a community that often overlooked its own. People, some hurrying to work, others lost in their own lives, paused to listen, captivated by the sound. Mia poured her soul into each song, a sonata of sadness and survival. But beneath the beauty of it all lay the harsh truth: every appreciative smile could hide judgment, every glance of admiration also wielded skepticism. She was just a homeless girl, after all. One afternoon, a figure approached, a quiet man with a weathered face and eyes that glimmered with untold stories. Mr. Thompson, a Vietnam veteran, saw Mia at the piano and felt an old longing stir within him. Memories of music from his youth flooded back, mixed with the weight of his past. He felt drawn to this girl, watching her play as if she was casting a spell. "Keep playing, kid," he said with a voice like gravel, his spirit igniting with hope. Their friendship blossomed over shared melodies in that forgotten park. Mr. Thompson taught her about resilience while opening up about his struggles. They became an unlikely duo, connected through the music that echoed off the park's rusty swings and faded benches. But not everyone was thrilled. Local businesses frowned, the community was skeptical of a homeless girl taking the stage. As her first public performance approached, anxiety twisted in Mia's stomach. What if they laughed? What if they saw her as just another face in the crowd? The whispers grew louder. The night of the performance, the air crackled with tension. She could almost taste the fear, clinging like a fog, but she took the stage, her heart thumping like a drum. But then disaster struck. The piano, her sanctuary, went silent. Laughter erupted from the crowd, drowning out her dreams, just as despair threatened to swallow her whole. A flicker of hope ignited when someone recorded her heartfelt performance and posted it online. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Suddenly, Mia's story began to spread like wildfire. Her song was out there, resonating with countless others who felt marginalized and overlooked. But as the video gained momentum, so did her fears. Could she rise, or would the world's skepticism drown her out? Standing at the precipice of fame, Mia faced a critical choice: reclaim her narrative or let society's judgment snuff out her light. As she wrestled with doubt and determination, the tension hung thick, a melody waiting to be played. Mia woke the next morning to the distant chirping of birds and the warm sun filtering through the leaves overhead. It felt surreal. The video had gone viral overnight, shares and likes flooding in like a sudden summer storm. Her heart beat wildly as she opened her phone, hoping the digital affirmation would validate her existence. She scrolled through countless comments, many uplifting, some harsh. Incredible talent. Just another homeless kid looking for a handout. The last one stung, a bitter reminder of the judgment she faced. She thought of Mr. Thompson's face, the way he looked at her when she played as if she were filling a void in his soul. She could almost hear his gravelly voice encouraging her to not let the negativity in. Determined, she decided to take control. With a flick of her finger, she recorded a message: "Hi everyone, my name is Mia. I'm just a girl who loves music. Thank you for your support." She smiled through a mix of nerves and excitement, pressing send, hoping it would connect her with those who embraced her spirit. The views began to rise. A few people from the park recognized her and shared their own stories, intertwining their struggles with hers. Mia felt a sense of community forming, one that filled the hollow spaces of her past with something resembling family. Her small world began to expand, but with more views came more pressure. Local media caught wind of her story, and before she knew it, journalists were reaching out, wanting interviews and features. The same whispers that had judged her before now turned to intrigue, a media frenzy circling like vultures. It was a double-edged sword. She craved the attention but feared it would expose her vulnerabilities. Would they still see her as a girl who made music, or merely a sensationalized story? One evening, she met with Mr. Thompson in the park, the same dusty piano waiting silently for them. "Mia," he said, his voice steady. "You've got a gift. But remember, while you're out there sharing your talent, don't lose yourself in it. Always play for you, not for anyone else." His words hung in the air, a gentle reminder amidst the storm. The next day, Mia was invited to perform at a local charity event, a chance to use her music for good. Heart racing, she accepted, hoping it would solidify her place, but doubts crept in like shadows. What if she failed again? During rehearsals, she struggled with her set list, wrestling with songs that felt too personal, too raw. On the day of the event, the crowd buzzed with excitement. Cameras flashed like stars in the night sky. She clutched the edge of the piano, her fingers trembling on the keys. Each breath felt heavy as she took the stage, stepping into the spotlight. Would they embrace her or cast her aside like before? Mia closed her eyes, letting the music flow. The first notes vibrated through her body, lifting her spirits. The audience, silent and spellbound, hung on every sound. For a moment, she was just Mia, the girl who played. But then, something unexpected happened. A connection sparked in the room, a sense of unity between her and the audience that transcended her fears. As she closed her eyes and surrendered to the melody, a powerful realization dawned. This was her story to tell, and it was time to reclaim the narrative. Just when she thought she was gaining ground, a heavy silence sporadically settled in. She opened her eyes to find a familiar face in the crowd, someone she never expected to see again. With her pulse quickening, Mia wondered how this unexpected visitor would change everything she thought about her journey. What if she had finally found the strength to face her past? Mia's heart raced as she locked eyes with the figure in the crowd. A woman tall, with dark hair framing her earnest face. It took her a moment to breathe through the shock. It was Sarah, her mother, whom she hadn't seen in years. The last time they had shared space, it was filled with anger and mistakes. Now, an immediate wall of feelings surged through Mia: confusion, apprehension, and a glimmer of hope. With every note she played, thoughts flooded her mind. Why was Sarah here? After all this time? Was she seeking forgiveness or merely curiosity? Mia forced herself to focus on the song, pouring her heart into the melody, determined to keep the connection with her audience alive. But at the back of her mind, the heaviness of Sarah's presence loomed. As the song concluded, an explosion of applause erupted around her, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling gnawing at her heart. She locked eyes with her mother again. The look on Sarah's face was a mix of pride and remorse, and Mia couldn't quite tell what it meant. Was it guilt for abandoning her? Or joy for seeing her succeed? "Mia." The announcer's voice broke through the moment. That was incredible. "Everyone, please join me in welcoming our next performer and the star of our show, Mia." The crowd roared in approval, but all Mia could do was stare at Sarah, who stood unmoving, a bittersweet smile playing on her lips. The bright lights and the cheering crowd faded into a distant background. For a heartbeat, it felt like there was no one else in the world besides them. The excitement felt electric around her, but inside, Mia was a whirlwind of thoughts. Memories of their last encounter rushed back: the loud arguments, the tears shed over broken dreams, and the painful silence that filled the empty space between them. It had been easier to push her mother out of her life, but now, faced with the reality of Sarah's presence, a million questions buzzed through her mind. What did Sarah think of her music? Did she know how much Mia longed for the warmth of family? Mia. The announcer's voice wove through her thoughts again, bringing her back to the moment. Will you play another song for us? The crowd pulsed with anticipation, but Mia was in a different place now. The weight of her mother's presence pressed heavily on her chest. What if opening up her heart could change everything? Could they start again? With trembling hands, she took a deep breath and nodded. Yet inside, she wrestled with the very choice that could alter her reality. Should she use this platform to confront her past, to reach out and seek a connection? As the keys echoed once again under her fingers, she chose to play not just for the audience, but for herself and for a possibility she never thought she had. The music flowed, this time infused with the raw emotion of uncertainty and yearning. And when the final note trailed off, she opened her eyes and faced her mother. Their eyes locked once more, and in that silent moment, they both felt something profound shift, a bridge forming between them built from hope and fear. As the crowd erupted into applause once more, Mia stood there, poised on the edge of a new beginning. But she knew this was far from over. The question lingered in the air: would her mother come to her after the performance, or would they remain forever like distant stars, shining brightly yet unable to touch? The unknown hung there, heavy and electric, leaving Mia at the precipice of change. The applause faded, leaving a buzz in Mia's ears. She took a step back, her fingers still lingering over the keys, but her heart raced with anticipation. Would Sarah move? Would she cross the invisible line that had kept them apart? Mia's eyes remained glued to her mother, searching for a sign, anything that might hint at what came next. As the lights dimmed and the next performer took the stage, something stirred deep within Mia. The exhilaration of her performance felt overshadowed by the unresolved tension hanging in the air. She could almost hear her own heartbeat echo in her chest, loud and insistent, begging for an answer, yet, time ticked on with agonizing slowness. The spotlight shifted, and each cheer for the new artist only seemed to underline the void between mother and daughter. Mia wanted to scream, to rush over to Sarah and demand to know why she had come after all these years. But she stayed rooted, a statue of hope and fear. Finally, as the next act concluded, the crowd erupted once more into applause. A ripple of excitement passed through the audience, it felt electric. But Mia only had eyes for the woman standing by the edge of the stage. Would she take that step forward and finally say something, anything? That's when Mia noticed movement. Sarah took a tentative step towards the stage. Mia's breath hitched. She opened her mouth, her heart racing, but words tangled up inside her throat like knots. What would she say? How could she capture the years of missing pieces into just a few sentences? Sarah was close now, so close that Mia could see the light reflecting off the tears pooling in her mother's eyes. Every step seemed monumental, each one filled with the weight of their shared past. The crowd was oblivious, lost in their own celebration, but for Mia, this was the moment, her moment of reckoning. Sarah finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper, yet it resonated like a blast in the silent room. Why did you come? Mia interrupted, the urgency escaping her lips before she could think. The question hung heavily in the air. Sarah's breath trembled, and Mia could see uncertainty flickering in her eyes. I wanted to see you, to hear you play. But what about everything else? Mia exclaimed, anger bubbling up within her. After all this time, you just show up. Sarah looked down, her expression faltering as guilt washed over her. I know I hurt you. I wanted to reach out sooner, but I thought you were better off without me. Something inside Mia snapped. Better off? She said, voice rising with hurt. You don't get to decide that for me. I needed you then, and I still need you now. The crackle of emotion hovered between them like a live wire. The air felt thick and electrifying, and she could almost see the shift in Sarah's eyes, a faint recognition of the pain that still bound them together. I'm sorry, Sarah said, her voice breaking. I wish I had done things differently. Mia's chest tightened. Those words were small, but they held a weight that could crush mountains. Yet she felt her defenses lifting, the walls she had built starting to crumble. Do you? She asked softly, almost afraid of the answer. Do you wish to be here now? With me? I do, more than anything, Sarah confessed, tears streaming down her cheeks. I was lost. I thought I was protecting you, but I see now that I only hurt you more. The vulnerability hung in the air, thick with unspoken words. For the first time in years, Mia felt real tears well up in her eyes. She did not know if forgiveness was possible, or if they could rebuild what had been broken. But perhaps, for the first time, they could begin to understand one another better. The applause echoed once more from the crowd, shakes of laughter and joy around them. But in this moment, all Mia heard was the sound of her own heart. It pulsed with hope and fear, bright yet securely tethered to the past. Mia. The announcer's voice broke into her thoughts again. You have so many fans here tonight. What do you say we all take a bow together? Mia looked at her mother, who stood there, vulnerable and uncertain, her eyes wide with both fear and hope. Would she step out into the light beside her? Mia could feel the weight of the moment. Would they continue to face the music together, or would they retreat once again into silence and shadows? The choice now hung between them, palpable and real, a decision that could redefine everything. Join me, Mia whispered, her heart full of courage. Would Sarah take her hand and step into this chapter together? Or would history repeat itself, leaving them standing on opposite sides once more? Mia's breath hung in the air like a whispered prayer. Time trickled, each second stretching into an eternity. She held her gaze steady on Sarah, feeling the weight of everything they had lost, everything that hung in the balance. The audience's laughter and chatter faded into a distant hum, and for a moment, it was just them, two souls caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Sarah's voice wavered as she stepped closer, hesitation etched into the lines of her face. I want to be here with you. Mia's heart pounded in her chest. Then show me. The words burst forth, raw and unfiltered. It felt like a challenge, but also a plea. Sarah inhaled slowly, her chest rising and falling like a leaf on a breath of wind. I don't know if I can. Can't or one T. Mia pressed, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. You don't get to stand on the sidelines anymore. Not now. Not after all this. The flicker of defiance in Mia's voice urged Sarah forward, and with a shaky breath, she took another step, bridging the gap. I'm scared, Mia. Scared that I won't know what to say, how to mend things. I just don't want to hurt you again. The world around them faded entirely, all noise gone except for the rhythm of their hearts. Mia fought back the flood of tears that threatened to spill over. It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. But we can't keep pretending nothing happened. If you're here now, let us try to build something new. The moment stretched out, palpable with potential. Sarah wiped her tears away, the movement revealing a hint of determination. You were always the brave one, you know. She said, a soft smile breaking through the clouds of sorrow. Mia couldn't help but smile back, hope flickering like a candle in a dark room. I learned from the best, she replied, her voice a little steadier now. There was a beat of silence before Sarah opened her arms, tentative at first. Can we just start with a hug? Mia hesitated. All the hurt from the past whispered in her ear, warning her, telling her to pull back, to keep her distance. But she finally stepped forward, falling into her mother's embrace and feeling the warmth of Sarah's familiar scent, a scent Mia had missed more than she realized. Tears poured down both their faces as they melded into one another, the chaos of the performance around them completely forgotten. For the first time in years, Mia felt a wave of comfort wash over her amidst the sorrow. She could feel the walls that had confined them both beginning to crack, allowing light to seep through. Thank you for being brave, Sarah's voice broke the spell, pulling them from the emotional depths. For letting me be part of your life again. I don't know what tomorrow will look like, Mia confessed, inhaling the moment, yet still cautious of what lay ahead. But at least we're facing it together. As they finally parted, Mia caught the eyes of the crowd who had been waiting, quietly witnessing the transformation that had just happened in front of them. A ripple of emotional murmurs flowed through the audience, and Mia hesitated. Would they understand? Hey everyone! She called out, a burst of newfound confidence boosting her voice. I think it's time to show you all something special. Leaning over, she beckoned for Sarah to join her behind the piano. The crowd grew quiet with anticipation. Mia's fingers brushed against the keys, feeling the familiar vibration pulse beneath them as she prepared to play a song that had always been theirs, a melody that held both their joy and pain. Then, with a glance at her mother, she began to play, pouring her heart into every note, but as the music filled the room, the weight of their fragile reunion loomed large. Would this be the bridge they needed, or the delicate thread that could snap at any moment? As the last note lingered in the air, Mia saw tears glistening in Sarah's eyes once more, but this time, they didn't feel like sorrow. Filled with unspoken words, would their music weave a new understanding, or would it echo their past and unravel everything once more? Mia held her breath, feeling the closing notes settle like dust in the air. Her fingers hovered above the keys, and she glanced at Sarah. The crowd, once scattered with casual chatter, now sat in rapt attention, their expectations thick enough to slice through. Did that feel okay? Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper, laced with both excitement and fear. More than okay, Mia replied, her heart racing. It felt right. Sarah wiped away a stray tear and nodded. A flicker of something warm danced in her eyes. The world outside of them faded, and for that moment, nothing mattered except the connection reformed. The audience had become a distant sea of faces, all waiting for the waves of their newfound bond. Mia sensed the transformation in Sarah. There was strength, perhaps even joy, behind those tears. It reminded her of summer days filled with laughter and sunlight, just before the storm clouds rolled in. She shifted her gaze back to the piano, the keys still humming with the remnants of their melody. Let us do it again, Mia suggested, emboldened. But this time, let us share a story, too. Sarah took a deep breath, nodding slowly. All right, she said, gathering her thoughts. Let us share our journey, everything that has led us here. The crowd stirred with curiosity as the two women prepared to speak. Mia could feel their anticipation prickling her skin. She admired Sarah's bravery, knowing how hard this must be for her. Many years ago, Sarah began, her voice steadying as she faced the audience, I lost sight of what mattered most. I became so wrapped up in my own fears and mistakes that I hurt the person I love more than anything. Mia felt the weight of her mother's confession settle around them. It stirred a recognition deep within her, making her want to reach out and pull Sarah closer again. She took a step forward, placing her hand on Sarah's shoulder. But we're here now, Mia interjected, her heart full of emotion. We're trying to fix things, little by little. And music is a part of that. It's something we've always shared, something that connects us, no matter what happened before. Sarah's voice cracked, and she looked at her daughter with renewed hope. You don't have to say everything perfectly. Just be honest. That's all I want, Mia assured her, eliciting a quiet nod from her mother. As the beat of their hearts synchronized once more, they leaned into each other, drawing strength from their bond. Then, they moved into a second song together, a haunting piece that expressed the weight of their journey but also danced around the edges with flickers of light, of healing. The crowd responded, whispers of admiration and applause echoing with every note they played. Mia could feel the energy rising, spreading through the rows of seats like wildfire. The music swelled, and Mia found herself lost in its embrace. Each note rang out like a bell, breaking through the silence of the past. She could see faces lit up with understanding, others wiping away tears, and some even smiling as they grasped the gravity of what was unfolding. As the last chords faded into silence, the audience erupted in appreciative applause. Mia turned towards Sarah, her eyes wide with wonder and relief. This moment, this reconnecting, it was powerful, but just as they basked in the joy, uncertainty lurked at the corner of Mia's heart. What came next? They were in a new place, yes, but was it stable? Through the high of this performance, the question lingered like an unanswered prayer. Could they sustain this connection? Heading backstage, Mia caught sight of a familiar face peeking through the door. It was someone she didn't expect to see, someone whose presence could shake everything they had just begun to rebuild. She froze, the warmth of emotions overshadowed by a rush of anxiety. Taking a steadying breath, she turned to Sarah, fear threading through her words. What if they don't understand? What if they want to pull us apart again? Sarah's gaze softened, and in that moment, Mia realized that every choice mattered now. They stood at a threshold, balancing on the edge of courage and vulnerability. With the crowd's applause still ringing in her ears, Mia knew this meeting could change everything. But would it scare them back into silence, or draw them closer to what they both needed? Mia stood frozen, her heart pounding in her chest. She peered through the curtain, barely believing her eyes. It was Lucas, her childhood friend, a boy whose laughter once echoed through the empty halls of their school before life took them in separate directions. There he stood, a shadow of the vibrant spirit she remembered. His eyes, once sparkling with mischief, now held weariness. Lucas? She whispered. The name slipped from her lips like a prayer. He caught her gaze and gave a small nod, his expression flickering between joy and trepidation. Memories rushed in a sunlit backyard, shared dreams, and the thrill of music uniting them. But those days felt distant now, buried under the weight of their different paths. Sarah noticed the abrupt shift in Mia's demeanor. Is everything okay? She asked, concern knitting her brow. Mia hesitated, her voice trembling. It's Lucas. Sarah's gaze darted to the door. The boy from the neighborhood? From the old days? Yeah. A lump formed in Mia's throat. But he looks different. I don't know if he can handle what we just shared. Mia, Sarah said, gripping her hand with warmth. Maybe he needs to hear this. Maybe we do, too. As Lucas stepped through the doorway, all the memories of their laughter and innocence flooded back. Yet there was a heaviness in his posture, the way he hesitated, as though stepping into a completely unfamiliar world. Mia's heart ached for him. She remembered how life had pushed them apart and what it had taken from him. Hey, Mia, Lucas greeted, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. I saw you on stage. You were amazing. Thanks, she replied softly. What are you doing here? I heard you were performing. He glanced around, a hint of embarrassment coloring his cheeks. I've been around, you know. Just checking things out. The tension was palpable. Mia wanted to reach out, to embrace him and pull him into the warmth of their shared history, but she faltered. The crowd's applause still echoed in her ears, a stark contrast to the quiet pain that filled the space between them. She understood now that connections could be fragile, even fleeting, especially amid difficult times. Are you okay? She asked, feeling the sincerity of her words. Lucas shrugged, but Mia could see the churning emotions in his eyes. Just trying to figure things out, I guess. The vulnerability in his voice sent shivers through her. In that moment, she realized they were more alike than ever, two souls navigating an unpredictable world. Sarah stepped closer, breaking the charged silence. Music can help with that, she said gently, her nurturing energy surrounding them. It's a way back to what matters. Mia felt her heart race with the urge to play again, to open a door for Lucas, to weave him back into their moment of healing. Do you want to join us? We can all play, she proposed, the warmth of hope flooding her voice. Lucas hesitated, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you've been through. You belong here. We belong together, Mia urged, desperation creeping in. You taught me how to dream. Let us dream together again. For a fleeting moment, Lucas appeared almost lightened by the idea. Then, reality washed over him, and he looked down, the weight of doubt returning. I don't think I can. Pain sliced through Mia. It was the same reluctance she had once felt, fearing that no matter how far they had come, the past still loomed behind them like a shadow. Yet she also knew that this was just the moment to challenge it. Lucas, she placed a hand on his arm, grounding him. You don't have to be perfect. Just be you. He looked up, searching her eyes. Her conviction was unwavering. She wanted to reach out and help him find a way back, just as they had tried with each other. As Lucas weighed his options, Sarah stood beside Mia, a comforting presence. The dance between hope and hesitation lingered in the air, thick with potential. Mia could feel the tide turning, but the outcome felt uncertain. The sparks of connection crackled in the charged silence. What would Lucas decide? Would he step into the light, or would the shadows pull him back? Come on, let us play something together, Mia encouraged, her heart racing with anticipation. You'll see. It's not just about music. It's about coming home. The moment stretched, every second filled with expectancy. Would Lucas take the leap, or would he let fear hold him back once again? The silence hung between them, poised like a tightrope, and Mia felt her heart hammering against her ribs. She could see Lucas's internal struggles play out in his expressions, the flicker of longing, the shadow of doubt. It was as if they were both standing at the edge of an abyss, staring into the unknown. Just play, she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. It might help you. Lucas's fingers twitched as if they were already dancing over piano keys. The memory of music, the way it once flowed effortlessly between them, seemed to tease at the edges of his mind. But insecurity clenched his throat. It's been so long since I remember how it felt. Just you and the music. Mia reminded him, hope echoing in her own heart. We can get there again. Together. He took a deep breath, his walls trembling but still standing. The room felt heavy with dreams unfulfilled and words left unspoken. Sarah, sensing the weight, moved closer, her presence radiating a quiet encouragement. You're not alone, Lucas. We all need a safe space to fall back into. Mia watched as uncertainty slowly eased from Lucas's face. There was a flicker, a spark. I feel like I've lost that part of myself. Then it's time to find it again, Mia said, her eyes shining with conviction. You've changed, yes, but so have I. Playing together, it's like stitching the past to the present. It's healing. For a moment, Lucas stood there, hesitating, then finally nodded. Okay. Let us try. Mia felt a rush of exhilaration. He was stepping forward, breaking the chains of his doubts. She guided him to the corner of the stage where an old piano sat, its wood warm and familiar. Lucas hesitated at first, recalling memories of both joy and pain, but when he finally placed his fingers on the keys, she could feel the moment shift. He started with a simple melody. The notes trembled at first, hesitant and unsure. But as they flowed, those notes began to brighten, lifting like birds taking flight. Mia instinctively accompanied him, her fingers dancing across the keys beside his, filling the gaps, echoing the memories they had shared. The music wrapped around them, binding their hearts together in the flow of melody. With every chord, Lucas seemed less like a shadow and more like the boy of their past. The crowd faded into the background, lost in the beauty of their reunion, and Mia felt tears prick at her eyes. Joy and relief washed over her as she watched Lucas begin to transform. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the music. Moments later, the haunting melody morphed into something fuller, richer, a blend of their souls that transcended time. They were reuniting in sound, laughter lingering in the falling notes, the world surrounding them dissipating into a serene stillness. The crowd began to react, their energy shifting from awe to encouragement. Whispers of admiration spread like wildfire, the sheer magic of their connection illuminating the room, breathing life into moments that had felt lost forever. As the final notes floated into silence, Lucas's eyes blinked open, and he looked over at Mia, disbelief washing over his features. I didn't know if I would ever feel this again. You just needed to remember how, Mia replied, her heart brimming with joy for him and for herself, but then a ripple of uncertainty passed through Lucas's gaze. What happens now? What if I can't keep it up? And just like that, the tension returned. The warmth of their moment was shadowed by the reality that awaited. Would he truly be able to reclaim the part of himself that had been lost? Would the world let him? As she pondered these questions, Mia felt a certainty rising in her. Then we will figure it out, she said, embracing the weight of their shared journey. Together. But doubt lingered in Lucas's eyes, a hesitant step towards the light struggling to gain its footing in the darkness surrounding them. Would their reunion hold, or would it slip away with the fading echoes of the music? The uncertainty loomed, thick and heavy. Would Lucas choose to embrace the healing power of the music and the friendship they once shared, or would he retreat back into himself again? Mia held her breath, waiting for the answer, the moment stretching before them, a question hanging in the air. The applause washed over them like a tidal wave, but Mia barely registered it. All she could see was the distant flicker in Lucas's eyes, the struggle still wrestling beneath the surface. He was physically there, but emotionally, he seemed to drift. The music they shared hung in the air between them, an unspoken promise and a lurking doubt all at once. Are you okay? Mia ventured, her voice small against the backdrop of cheers. Lucas's gaze met hers, and for an instant, she saw clarity. But it faded too quickly, swallowed by shadows of fear. I don't know what will happen after this, he admitted, his voice hoarse. You don't have to know everything right now, Mia urged gently. We can take it one step at a time. No need to rush. Her reassuring words brought a flicker of a smile to Lucas's lips, but it didn't reach his eyes. He bit his lower lip, the weight of expectation settling heavily on his shoulders. Was it too much to hope that this moment, this shared music, could ignite a lasting change within him? Looking out at the crowd, Mia noticed that Sarah was standing, her face glowing with pride. The audience was caught in a collective moment of wonder. Mia turned back to Lucas, motioning toward the crowd. They believe in you. I believe in you. Do you think I can really keep playing? He asked, his chest rising and falling with an anxious breath. Not just play, Lucas, but thrive. She reached across the space between them, intertwining her fingers with his over the piano keys. As if sensing her belief in him, Lucas closed his eyes again, and this time there was a steadiness in his expression. Mia felt as if she could almost hear his thoughts, the uncertainty transforming slowly into determination. A bold confidence erupted from somewhere deep inside him, and he nodded once more. Let us do something together, one more piece to close out the night. Her heart soared. Yes. What do you have in mind? Something different, Lucas responded, his voice brimming with new energy. Can we try a mix? A blend of everything past and present. Absolutely. She took a deep breath. No rules. Just us. With renewed conviction, Lucas began to play again. This time, it was different. The music sprang to life, a tangle of melodies entwined in raw emotion. Laughter, fear, nostalgia, it was all woven together, a hauntingly beautiful reflection of their journey. Mia played with him, matching his rhythm, adding her own voice alongside his. The notes bounced off the walls, lifting their spirits and smashing through the walls that had stood between them for so long. It wasn't just music, it was a powerful moment, a vow to face whatever lay ahead. Together, with each passing note, the tension in Lucas began to dissolve. There was an unmistakable spark, an understanding that it wouldn't always be easy, but they had each other. They were co-authors of their own narrative, sculpting every twist and turn with intention. As the final notes resounded in the air, the audience erupted into unrestrained applause. Lucas looked down at their joined hands, the warmth and familiarity reassuring him. But Mia felt the question rise in her chest again. Would this newfound connection hold strong, or would uncertainty creep back in when the spotlight faded? She searched Lucas's face for answers, hoping he could reassure her that this time was different. That the bond they had begun to forge would not betray them again. As the echoes of their last performance lingered in the air, Mia realized they were at another precipice, a new beginning or a point of retreat. Would they leap once more into the unknown together, or would they allow the fears of the past to hold them captive? Mia stood in the center of the stage, her heart racing as the applause washed over her like a warm wave. She had shared her music, shared her pain, and shared a moment with Lucas that felt transformative. Yet, uncertainty lingered in the air like a thin veil. The lights that illuminated the stage were bright, but she couldn't shake off the shadows of doubt that threatened to creep back in. Lucas glanced around at the audience, who were still buzzing with excitement from the performance. Mia could almost see the wheels turning in his mind, worry churning behind his expressive eyes. What if this was just a fleeting moment? She thought. What if we couldn't sustain the magic of tonight? The doubts flooded in as memories of their past rose unbidden. Times when they had laughed and played together, yet became distant shadows as life took over. For a moment, fear threatened to overshadow their triumph. "Hey," she said gently, her voice cutting through the din of applause, drawing his gaze back to her. "We did something incredible tonight." Lucas took a deep breath, the corners of his mouth twitching into a tentative smile. "Yeah, we really did." She could see the glimmer of hope in his expression, just beneath the surface. "Can we keep this going?" She pressed, her heart pounding. "Not just tonight but beyond this moment." He nodded slowly. "I want to." His resolve began to shine through in his words. Mia felt a surge of gratitude and excitement. They had traveled so far already. They deserved to continue. Nearby, she caught her mother's encouraging smile, pride radiating from her gaze. She needed that validation. It ignited something within her, the realization that home wasn't just a place, but a feeling, something she could build with the people that mattered most. As the crowd began to disperse, Lucas hesitated, and she sensed the weight of the unspoken words between them. "It's not just about music, is it?" he ventured, his voice barely a whisper. "No," Mia replied, her heart heavy with sincerity. "It's about facing everything together. Supporting each other regardless of how hard things get." "Promise me we'll try," he said earnestly, eyes locked on hers. "Nothing is perfect, and I don't have all the answers. But I want to face it together, whatever that looks like." Mia's heart swelled. "I promise," she breathed, the warmth of their connection radiating through her. They stood in that moment, the noise of the crowd fading around them, lost in the promise of new beginnings. They both felt the weight of their past but were ready to create a new future entwined with shared stories and music. Days passed into weeks, and they carved out time to practice, to dream, and to rehearse their hopes and fears. They began to perform more frequently, each melody a stepping stone towards a brighter path. The lessons learned became the backbone of their bond, a relationship rooted not just in music, but in understanding and shared resilience. Mia shared bits of her life with Lucas, stories stapled to her spirit, while he opened up about his struggles too. They transformed their pain into songs that echoed their journey. Each performance resonated deeply with their audience, speaking to shared human experiences. The crowd wasn't just watching anymore, they were feeling every note, every lyric that told a story. One evening, after a set that felt electric, they concluded their performance with a heartfelt song. The audience erupted into applause, but this time, it was their souls that took center stage. "Can you feel it, Mia?" Lucas said, a radiant smile lighting up his face as he turned towards her. "Feel what?" she asked, laughter bubbling up inside her. "The weight lifting. The joy of being present. The beauty in our story." He spread his arms wide, encompassing everything: the music, the audience, their journey together. Mia felt warmth creeping up her cheeks. "We did this," she breathed softly, realizing the depth of their partnership, a friendship full of love, trust, and growth. With every performance, they wove together memories that held them accountable and anchored them to their truth. They created a community, a small circle of supporters who recognized their authenticity and cheered them on. As time moved forward, Mia found comfort in knowing that, just as she had stood strong on that stage, they were forging their own path. Together, they dismantled the walls that had once kept them apart from everyone, especially from the people they had love for. "Let us plan something big," Lucas suggested one evening, excitement thrumming in the air as they practiced. "Like what?" she inquired, a curious smile spreading across her face. "A concert. A charity show to give back to the community. We can invite people to share their stories, their journeys, just like we did." Mia's heart raced. "That's a great idea. We could touch so many lives." And so, as the plans began to take shape, they felt not just the thrill of sharing their music, but the power of community. They had come so far from where they started, and each day reminded them of their resilience, their ability to hold on to hope, even in the face of uncertainty. As they worked on the charity concert, people from every corner of their own journey began showing up: supporters, fellow musicians, and families inspired by the vibrant energy of Mia and Lucas. It felt like the echoes of their songs were rippling out into the world, creating waves of support. On the night of the concert, they stood side by side, ready to face the crowd. Mia took a deep breath, their dreams laid out in front of them. It felt like an awakening. "This is it, Lucas. We did this." Lucas smiled, a mix of joy and nervousness shimmering in his eyes. "Ready to show them how far we've come?" "Absolutely." A warm glow spread through her as they stepped onto that stage together, hand in hand, ready to share their music, their story, and the love that bound them. At that moment, she was reminded, every note played together echoed stronger than any fear could ever hold. The light of hope shined brightly, a guiding force toward an ever brighter horizon, with music weaving a connection for all, and they knew that as long as they were together, they could face whatever life threw their way. Mia smiled, knowing that this was just the beautiful beginning of a lifelong journey. So to everyone out there, never forget that it's the moments spent together that are truly life-changing. The connections we make have the power to heal, inspire, and uplift one another. Now, if you enjoyed this heartfelt journey with Mia and Lucas, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help share these uplifting tales. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Can't wait to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love.